Your car is literally begging you to stop these habits, but you're not listening. That strange noise you've been ignoring for weeks? It's your engine's desperate cry for help before catastrophic failure. Today, I'm exposing the 15 deadliest car habits that mechanics see every day. Habits that are guaranteed to destroy your engine and leave you stranded. Stay tuned for number 12, which nearly every driver does weekly without realizing it's cutting their car's lifespan in half. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Oil starvation, the silent engine killer. Your car needs oil like you need blood, yet 22% of vehicles on the road right now are dangerously low. This isn't just a minor issue. It's an engine killer that mechanics see every day. When your oil runs low, metal parts inside your engine make direct contact at temperatures exceeding 200 degrees. This metal-on-metal contact creates devastating damage within minutes, not hours or days. Your engine components literally grind themselves to pieces. The solution is simple. Check your oil every other time you fill up with gas and keep a spare quart in your trunk. But why stop at ignoring your oil when you can also ignore the literal warning light designed to save your engine? Check engine light, your dashboard's SOS signal. That check engine light has been on for 3 months now, but hey, the car still drives fine, right? Wrong. Your dashboard isn't lighting up for fun. It's a sophisticated diagnostic system detecting problems long before catastrophic failure occurs. What many drivers don't realize is how engine issues progress. That $50 oxygen sensor replacement you're ignoring right now? It's steadily damaging your $2,000 catalytic converter. Once that fails, you're looking at a $5,000 engine rebuild. The solution is remarkably simple. Diagnostic tools cost less than $30 online and can read codes in minutes, potentially saving you thousands in repairs. Coolant catastrophe. Boiling your engine from within. Your engine operates at temperatures that would boil water, because that's exactly what's happening inside your cooling system. When coolant leaks occur, your engine temperature skyrockets, warping cylinder heads and blowing head gaskets, often with minimal warning. What's truly dangerous is how many drivers see the temperature gauge climbing or notice the warning light and think, I can make it home, or I'll just get to the next exit. This decision causes irreversible damage in minutes, not hours. The prevention is remarkably simple. Check coolant levels monthly and immediately stop driving when temperature rises. A $100 tow is infinitely cheaper than a $3,500 head gasket repair. Oil change negligence. Liquid engine life. Your engine has hundreds of moving parts, all bathed in oil that gradually turns from a smooth lubricant into liquid sandpaper. This isn't exaggeration. It's chemistry. As oil circulates through your engine, it's exposed to extreme heat, pressure, and contaminants from combustion, causing it to break down and become acidic. Saving $40 4 times a year by stretching oil changes costs the average driver $1,200 in reduced engine lifespan annually. This false economy turns small savings into major financial burdens. Following the manufacturer's oil change interval is the single most effective way to extend engine life, not the optimistic 10,000 miles some quick lube places suggest. But what good is fresh oil if your engine can't even breathe? Suffocating your engine. The clogged air filter crisis. Your engine inhales 10,000 gallons of air for every gallon of fuel it burns. Now imagine trying to breathe through a dust-caked filter. This restriction forces your engine to work harder, decreasing power while increasing fuel consumption by up to 10%. What most drivers don't realize is how restricted airflow creates an improper air-fuel mixture, especially in direct injection engines. This imbalance causes carbon buildup on intake valves and pistons. The engine control unit constantly tries to compensate, but it can only do so much with limited air. A $15 air filter replaced once a year saves $200 in fuel and prevents $1,000+ in carbon cleaning services. Yet most drivers completely ignore this simple maintenance item until performance noticeably suffers. Oil type. Mismatch. The wrong blood type for your engine. Using the wrong oil in your engine is like putting orange juice in your coffee maker. Technically a liquid, but not the one designed for the job. Modern engines are precision instruments with tolerances measured in microns that completely depend on correct oil flow. People who carefully follow medication instructions will carelessly grab whatever oil is cheapest, ignoring the engine's specific requirements. This contradiction is costly. Finding the correct oil specification takes 30 seconds in your owner's manual and may cost a few dollars more, but prevents thousands in damage. The right oil protects your engine's most vulnerable parts. Timing belt roulette. Engine destruction on schedule. Your timing belt is literally the heartbeat of your engine, keeping everything in perfect synchronization. When it fails, your engine's pistons and valves have a violent metal-crushing meeting. What makes timing belts so dangerous is how they deteriorate silently with zero warning signs. There's no noise, no check engine light, nothing until catastrophic failure occurs, often destroying the engine instantly. A $500 to $900 timing belt service seems expensive until you compare it to the $4,000 to $8,000 engine replacement when it fails. The math isn't complicated. Check your maintenance schedule for timing component replacement intervals, typically 60,000 to 100,000 miles, and treat it as mandatory, not optional. This isn't a suggestion. It's like replacing a parachute on schedule. Misfire denial. The engine's desperate plea. That stuttering, hesitation, or rough idle isn't your engine's personality. It's a desperate cry for help that too many drivers simply turn up the radio to ignore. When your engine misfires, unburned fuel enters the exhaust system and floods your catalytic converter. This uncombusted fuel quickly overheats the converter, causing damage within hours of driving, not days or weeks. The check engine light flashing is the automotive equivalent of screaming, "Stop driving me." Yet many people continue their commute for weeks. The irony is painful to watch. Any misfire should be diagnosed immediately. Often it's just a spark plug or coil that costs under $100 to fix before it causes thousands in damage. Fuel injector failure. Precision parts. Under pressure. Your fuel injectors spray gasoline in patterns finer than perfume, at pressures that can cut skin, timed to microsecond precision, and many drivers let them clog with deposits until they fail. When fuel injectors leak, they spray unmetered fuel that creates rich running conditions. This excess fuel overwhelms oxygen sensors and floods catalytic converters with unburned hydrocarbons. The damage compounds quickly as these expensive components deteriorate. Using quality fuel and injector cleaners costs perhaps $50 annually, while replacing a set of injectors can exceed $1,000. This neglect creates a financial disaster that's completely avoidable. Regular use of quality fuel and occasional injector cleaning services prevent these precision components from failing prematurely. Oxygen sensor oblivion. The engine's vision system. Your oxygen sensors are your engine's eyes. Without them, it's driving blind, guessing how much fuel to inject with predictably wasteful results. When oxygen sensors fail, your engine defaults to a rich fuel mixture as a safety measure. This excess fuel washes down cylinder walls, diluting your oil and eventually destroying bearings. Meanwhile, unburned fuel floods into your catalytic converter, melting its internal components. Driving with a bad oxygen sensor is like pouring a quarter of your gas tank directly onto the ground with each fill-up. Oxygen sensor replacement costs $100 to $300 depending on location and vehicle. A fraction of what you'll waste in fuel and downstream damage when ignored. Spark plug procrastination. Ignition deterioration. Your spark plugs create lightning in a bottle 500 times per minute in each cylinder, yet most drivers wait until their engine is misfiring before replacing these critical components. Worn spark plugs cause incomplete combustion long before you notice problems. This partial burning creates carbon deposits on valves and pistons while reducing power and wasting fuel. Your car compensates by injecting more gas, but efficiency steadily drops. Saving $100 by delaying spark plug replacement costs the average driver $300 in wasted fuel and potentially thousands in catalytic converter damage. This false economy spreads through your entire engine. Following the manufacturer's spark plug replacement interval, typically 60,000 to 100,000 miles, prevents a cascade of expensive problems and maintains performance. Bargain fuel fallacy. Penny-wise, engine foolish. Low-quality fuels contain inadequate detergent packages that allow carbon deposits to form on intake valves and injectors. This is especially damaging for direct injection engines where fuel doesn't wash over intake valves. These deposits build up over time, restricting airflow and creating hotspots. Your engine's NOx sensors detect these problems and adjust timing accordingly. These adjustments reduce performance and fuel economy, making those savings completely meaningless. Your engine essentially runs in a protective, less efficient mode. Saving $5 per tank on questionable fuel costs the average driver $600 in carbon cleaning services every 30,000 miles. The solution is using top-tier certified fuels available from many major brands. These fuels meet detergent standards exceeding the minimum EPA requirements. Noise negligence. Your engine's verbal warnings. Your engine speaks a language of sounds. Knocks, ticks, whines, and rattles are all trying to tell you something long before total failure occurs. That knocking noise suggests bearing wear, potentially leading to catastrophic engine failure. Ticking sounds signal valve issues that reduce performance before causing complete valve failure. Rattling often indicates timing component problems that can destroy your engine in seconds. These sounds never improve on their own. They only progress from minor annoyances to major failures when ignored. That subtle ticking today becomes a seized engine tomorrow. Investigate any new or unusual engine sound immediately. Early diagnosis often means simpler, less expensive repairs costing hundreds instead of thousands. Idle indulgence, the stationary engine killer. Letting your engine idle for extended periods isn't warming it up. It's actually creating a slow-motion oil starvation scenario. When your engine idles, especially when cold, fuel doesn't completely combust. This unburned fuel contaminates your oil, reducing its lubricating properties. At idle, your engine also operates at its lowest oil pressure, meaning critical components receive minimal lubrication. This creates accelerated wear on bearings, cylinder walls, and piston rings. Driving gently after a brief warm-up actually brings the engine to optimal temperature faster because the engine works harder and oil circulates more effectively than at idle. Head gasket. Denial. The point of no return. White smoke from the exhaust, bubbling coolant, and that sweet maple syrup smell aren't just inconveniences. They're your engine's final desperate signals before catastrophic failure. When your head gasket fails, coolant and oil mix into a corrosive cocktail that circulates through your engine. This mixture destroys bearings and seals throughout the system, turning lubrication into liquid sandpaper. Continuing to drive with these symptoms transforms a $1,500 repair into a complete $5,000+ engine replacement within days or even hours. The damage multiplies exponentially with each mile. Head gasket symptoms demand immediate attention, not limping your car home or to work for a few more days. In the end, every engine will eventually fail, but how soon depends almost entirely on how you treat it. Conclusion. Looking at these 15 engine-killing habits, one thing stands out. We constantly choose short-term convenience over long-term reliability. We save $20 skipping an oil change while risking $4,000 in engine damage. We ignore warning lights to avoid a $100 repair until it becomes a $3,000 catastrophe. Your car is likely one of your most valuable assets. Treating it with respect isn't just about avoiding repairs. It's about respecting yourself and your financial future.